All right. Thanks for hopping on again, Jason. We talked yesterday and I got your whole life story and we had some technical issues. So I feel like I could do
Yeah.
this interview by myself.
Well, that might be an interesting exercise to watch.
Yeah, so a quick rundown about Jason. He is currently in American Fork, Utah, which is, we talked about yesterday, it's right on a lake. He's pretty close to Salt Lake City and all of the fun parts. So lots of activities with the family. He got into apps at the very, very beginning. He's been a relentless guy, worked with lots of startups, lots of companies. His first app, MileBug, hit the #1 spot on the finance category, right?
Yes, it did. In fact, it first hit #1 in January of 2014, and it keeps hitting #1 each new year. It's an interesting cycle with MileBug, and we can maybe get into that a little bit later. But yeah, it comes back each new year, rises up to the top of its category.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've also been a recent member of the Bluecloud app formula. And I guess take it away. Tell me your awesome story about how you got interested and how you fell into apps.
Well, to start with apps, like you said, I got in the beginning back in '08. I had finally had enough with where I was working for somebody else. And my wife and I decided it's time to do our own thing again. And we were exploring a lot of things and even came to where we had designed this physical product that would mount to the dash of your car to help you enter in odometer readings and keep track of business, charity, medical, all of the things you needed to track your business miles or your tax deductible miles. And we're in the kitchen one day and my wife turns to me and she says, everybody has their phone with them. This would be really cool if MileBug could just be on your phone. So I hit Google and I said, how do you, build apps for phones? And it turned out that Steve Jobs had just announced the Apple App Store just 2 weeks earlier. So I said, that's it, we're in. And it was 3 months later, MileBug hit the App Store as one of the first 2,700 apps in the store. That was August of '08. So we're actually hitting our 8th anniversary here in about 2 weeks.
That's amazing. Yeah, and you just kind of mentioned that you've been in apps since 2008, since the very beginning. And what are some of the differences? I mean, a lot of the people that come to Bluecloud, it's 2016 now. The market's a lot different. The developer portal is a lot different. What are some of the nuances that you had to face with back then that are a lot easier now?
Well, it was very much, a Wild West atmosphere back then. People didn't know how to price apps. They didn't know what was going to sell. They didn't know how to market them. People were just trying everything. Even just the way Apple had their submission process was, compared to today, it was a nightmare back then. I mean, we struggled learning it and figuring it. And every time you submitted an app, you're looking at 30 minutes to an hour just to get through everything and make sure you had everything straight.
Wow.
And these days, I can submit a new app, in 5 or 10 minutes, just getting everything in.
And the review time is only, 24 hours now.
Yeah. And that's even a recent change. Just in the last few months, it's down to 24 to 48 hours. And back then in '08, you planned 4 to 6 weeks. And that was even for updates. Now, sometimes an update could go in a little faster, which was interesting than a brand new submission, but it was still a lot longer and frustrating. But we made it through. The pricing was really interesting because that first few months the App Store was open, people were trying all different kinds of prices on apps, and after a couple months, people were generally going $8 to $10 for their apps. And so the first day MileBug went out, it was $7.99, and you didn't really have to do any marketing back then, those first few months, because people were just buying whatever thing new showed up in the App Store. In fact, that first day MileBug was in the store was my highest sales day for the next 3 years. That's how long it took to get sales back up to what that first day was.
So you publish MileBug and it's at $7.99, right?
Yeah. It was back then.
This is all organic traffic. You're not running any paid campaigns. Walk me through kind of what happens that first day and how your app kind of climbs up through the rankings.
Well, that first day it went out, and I'd have to look up, see what sales and downloads and things were. But, each day was just a little less because everyone was focused on whatever was new. There was not much staying power with a lot of the apps that went out. But then through that fall, because I didn't know what I was doing with marketing or anything, I tried some Facebook stuff, I think, and we tried some things on Google Ads and just throwing darts at the wall. And through the fall, sales just kind of diminished. But what was really interesting is we hit the new year, and now there was all of this web traffic. People were looking for ways to create a mileage log for their tax-deductible mileage. And suddenly, now MileBug starts showing up in their search results. And boom, we just started to climb up those charts. And it was within a couple weeks, we were up to number 3. And we were just bouncing around. It was that was exciting. And I think then the next year we made it up to number 2. And then, like I said, it was in 2014 when we first made it up to number 1 in finance.
Yeah, so that's really interesting how the Apple algorithm will weigh apps that have been around longer more than it will apps that are brand new, right? If you were to release MileBug right now today, it's not going to hit that same ranking that your current app has that's been around for years. What are some of the difficulties that you've had to kind of retain the power, the customers, and the rankings of MileBug through the years?
Well, one thing that we've learned, that I learned early on, was that we needed to do regular updates. I noticed as more competitors came into the App Store that I was updating more frequently than they were. And so I was moving up the ranks and staying up there longer. There was also a strong factor of customer support. I committed early on that I would be responsive to people that were having questions on either how to use it or requesting new features or any problems they might have. There's hardly an app out there that doesn't have a bug in it, and you gotta, but you want to stay on top of those, and you add new features, and new bugs show up with the new features. So good customer support, I think, really played a big role. And what was nice is because I had that first mover advantage, I did get a lot of PR over that. I was, in those first couple years, I was interviewed by Forbes and the New York Times and received awards. Apple took notice, which was really cool. In the 2009 and the 2010 WWDC, the MileBug icon was featured in their banners that were up on the walls.
Oh, wow.
There. And then both at the Apple Store here in Salt Lake City and in San Francisco, they did murals of popular app icons, and MileBug was among those 2 murals that was at the 2 different app stores. Yeah,
and tell me about your developer and your designer. I think that you're a little bit interesting because you didn't go the Upwork route, that back in the day, the Elance route. You found somebody local, right?
Right. So when I jumped into doing apps, I had a long history of being a Java developer, and I had done a lot of back-end server development. And I knew we wanted to move quickly, and I didn't want to take the time to ramp up on a new language before getting the first app out. Of course, later I did, but so I just Googled for who might be available to build something for me. And as it turned out, there was a high school kid. He'd just finished his junior year, and he'd recently placed, I think it was 3rd place in the National Computer Science competition. And he had already converted his one Mac app into an iPhone app. And so he was just down the road, like 15-minute drive away.
So you literally Googled like American Fork, Utah app developer, and that's kind of how you found your guy.
Yeah, I think I kept it to more, Utah.
Yeah.
It turned out he was just down the road. So he actually came to my house. We mapped some things out.
Wow.
And and he built it for me. And it's interesting. He's now, I think he just recently graduated from MIT. Bright kid. And so he did the first version, and then I hired other guys that I just met, through the community through that fall while I was still learning. And so it was actually probably 6 to 8 months after MileBug first came out that I took over full-time development on MileBug myself. And
Wow.
And interestingly enough, MileBug has been my most successful app compared to all the others that I built myself.
And you said one thing that's really interesting is you physically met, this sounds bizarre in today's world, but you physically met your developer.
I
And
did.
I
Yeah.
think that's, I mean, not all of us have the opportunity. I think probably 99% of us have a developer that's in a different state,
Yeah.
different country,
Oh,
different
yeah.
part of the world. But the point is that you were able to build a relationship with your developer. You were able to, show him who you are, not just in the project, but outside of the project, and also provide value, make him care more about the project, develop trust. And that's just something that we need to be creative about as developers who work with freelancers in different parts of the world, and figuring out how can I communicate with this person so it's not just a task where I'm barking orders, but we're also building a relationship so that they care more about the project. We have more fun together, and we grow our business.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. And in fact, after even having some success with MileBug, I turned to building apps myself. And so I was that developer on the other end of the electronic communication. As
So you
I
know
had
how it
clients,
feels.
yeah, I had clients from California to Virginia. And, so it was communication by email and by phone. And, we didn't even video conference, but we just were able to establish a relationship because I showed that I cared. And these people that were hiring me, they showed trust in me, and they, communicated tasks, and it was a pretty good experience overall, I think.
Right. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be, I think I already posted a message in the Facebook group about some PR moves that you made for MileBug, specifically the tool that you used, PC Mac. Can you tell me how you found this PR tool and the results that it had, how you used it, and how the benefits it's had for your app and your launch?
Yeah. I can't remember the first year I stumbled on it, but I know I've been using it for many years, probably a good 4 or 5 years or more. And it's actually called PR Mac.
PR Mac.
Yeah. And it's a PR, a press release service for products and services related to Apple products. That's their specialty. And over the years, they've built up relationships with different media agencies. I remember at one point they were in touch with about 250 agencies, and today they list over 800. So when you send out your press release with them, it goes out to all of these different agencies. It's posted on their website. It's
And how are you contacting these people? Are you providing an example press release of your app, or are you just providing a link of your app? Are you telling them the benefits and the breakdown? Like, how are you contacting them and getting the result that you're looking for?
Yeah, so PR Mac is the low cost service provider for press releases. So they provide the means to distribute your press release, and then you write the press release yourself.
Oh, got it.
And then that gets released for just $20. $20, and your press release goes out to over 800 media agencies.
Wow.
PR Mac does now have, as of probably 3-4 years ago, they now offer the service to write your press release for you. And that's $88, and that includes the $20 distribution. So it's just an additional $68 on top if you don't consider yourself, a good writer, or you don't know how to present what's going in there. But these press releases will include, information about your company, information about the app, and then you want to write it in a little bit of a story fashion, like a reporter might write it, because these people that are receiving your press release, the less work they can do with your press release before turning it into an article or a blog post, the more likely they're going to actually do that.
Right.
So the more you write it like a reporting on a story, how your app fits in with current trends, for instance, or why it's of interest to a certain group of people, that's a note you want to put in that press release. And then, of course, details about cost and requirements and where they can get it. And then PR Mac allows you to put in links to where to download the app, different screenshots, your app icon, your website, all of these different links, so that when it goes out, a lot of these agencies will automatically, they just have these automated processes that publish the press release to their sites. So now you immediately have all these backlinks coming back into you because these links were already embedded in your press release. So yeah, so great company. I love PR Mac. Founder Ray Barber has even reached out to me a few different times. We're connected on LinkedIn, and so yeah, it's a great outfit and the highest ROI I've ever had of any marketing efforts.
That's interesting because a lot of people go to publishers or they'll reach out to different PR agencies, and to know that there's one spot you can go and you're that connected, it sounds like kind of they're an intimate team. That's a great resource. So you have MileBug out. It's climbing up the charts year after year. What's next? What are you diving into afterwards? Are you doing more apps? You're getting into reskinning? What's going on?
Yeah, doing more apps via reskinning. So, I had seen some video posts and things from Chad Moretta, and I really liked his story. And so I bought his book, The App Empire, and was on his mailing list. And so I've been kind of following and reading some of his stuff for the last year. And, and then it was just about a month or two ago, probably 2 months ago, he says, hey, there's this really great guy, Carter, who's been doing great things with reskinning apps, or flipping apps was another term that they used. And so he says, you got to check out what this guy has. So I said, all right. So I signed up for the big webinar thing and sat down, for, boy, it was a long thing. It was like an hour and a half or 2 hours, but it was just engrossing. And I signed up. And, it was the thing that caught my eye was to say, this guy's been doing more with apps in 3 years than what I've done in 8 years.
Right.
And the piece that I've been missing for 8 years is really understanding how to market apps. And that's what Bluecloud is filling the gap for me. I've built dozens of apps myself, for clients. But my success with MileBug and some other clients almost came by accident. I can share some few tips and some few things that have worked well, but now's the time to reskin, get apps out faster, easier, lower cost, and start leveraging these marketing tips and tools and insights. So yeah, Bluecloud's been great. Yeah,
it's interesting because you signed up for the Bluecloud app formula, which is our app course, about a month ago or so, I think.
Yeah, about 6 weeks, actually.
6 weeks. And I mean, the course on the outside, how we market it, how we introduce it, is basically for beginners, people who have no experience with coding. It's basically the opposite demographic of you.
Right.
But you still went forward, and that's because we don't only just introduce all parts of the App Store as far as developing, hiring, marketing, like you want to learn about. We also provide case studies from all of our successes and how you can repeat the success. We have all of these cut and paste scripts and resources. And we also have 11 app templates. We're going to add more soon, but that's we used to sell all of our source codes like Chupa Mobile or Code Canyon, and it was just a lot of work. And we wanted to make sure that the people who use our app templates are serious, they're following our formula, and they're getting their results. We recently talked about the story with Smoji and Evan from our group, who signed up in 1 month. He had a coding background, didn't know much about marketing. His app hit number 37 the first day. So it is working for people. And again, people like you who are more experienced, keep on joining. And tell us why you joined and what you're doing with one of our templates.
Yeah, so like I said, I really wanted to get into this reskinning and be able to make some things happen with marketing. And so I grabbed the emoji app template that was provided by Bluecloud. And I did that because I had been seeing some of these customized emoji templates, like Kimoji from Kim Kardashian, right, and Steph Curry's Steph emoji stuff. And one day I'm reading the newspaper and they've got a comic strip in there, and one of the characters in the strip says, "Man, I really want this bacon emoji." And I said, you know what? We got to do this. We got to make a bacon emoji app. So I leveraged that template. I found actually a local developer. There's a great outfit here in Provo, where BYU is, that runs a 12-week course for brand new developers. And so they come out of that with experience in Swift and, launching their career. And so I took one of them under my wing, and he built this. He took the template and he put it all together, so we had to add a couple things, but then I got some illustrators. They did the emoji, and yeah, within 4 or 5 weeks from signing up, we got the Bacon emoji app in the App Store last week. And so things are, trying to figure out how to get that rolling. We didn't hit 37 in our first day, but I think one of the things that you had shared with me is that Swimoji developer had built his based on who he knew he'd be able to market it through. And so he was able to leverage some of those contacts probably early on right there at the beginning. So
we talked about that yesterday, how a lot of people will just think of an idea. They're at a bar, they're hanging out with some friends, they're with family, and oh, what a great idea for an app. Or people will go use tools like Sensor Tower and App Annie, or do market research on iTunes to see what niche they can find in the market to capitalize on. But what a lot of people forget is to think about your internal resources, who who you're connected to. And you're right. Swimoji, he was pretty connected in the swimming field. And you also were connected as far as your MileBug. You had some people that you were connected to, and that's kind of what helped launch that, or was it the Bacon app?
No, I just have people that I try to reach out to. And so I've identified some people that I'm going to be reaching out to for Bacon Emoji, and then have kind of this new plan for MileBug for the upcoming new year. And so I'll be reaching out to some influencers for that when that's ready as well. And we'll see what other apps maybe I can put together with some other templates through the fall, even before the new year.
Yeah, what's next? What do you have on your plate coming up? Pardon the bacon pun.
Well, we'll continue with the Bacon emoji in that we'll add some holiday themed emojis. So we'll have some Halloween bacon emoji, some Thanksgiving, Christmas. So we'll do an update each month through the fall to hit the holidays.
You did something really creative with your emoji app that you don't see a lot of really quickly, that I really caught my eye, is you made letters out of the pieces of bacon so that people could spell things, names, whatever they want to text in bacon. And I thought that was so creative that there's some fonts apps that you've seen, but nobody really capitalizes on using emojis as letters and spelling stuff out. I thought that was really, really neat.
Yeah, that actually led to one of our longest conversations on our Facebook page. One gal, I had posted a screenshot that showed Kim spelled out in bacon, and this girl named Kim posts on the page, "I can die happy now. My name has been spelled in bacon." And then her friends all start joining in, and it went down for a good conversation. So those letters are fun to have.
Yeah, so just wrapping this up, as somebody who's been in the pioneer stages of app development since day one when the App Store got released, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned to get you this far?
I would say that you've got to stick with it. So there's, you get, like with MileBug, it had a short-term success right when it launched. And then it just kind of dove for a few months because I didn't know what was going on. But then, it was 4-5 months nearly after it launched that we hit the new year. Some event I hadn't even anticipated suddenly shot it right up. So, don't give up, keep going, learn more. That's really the thing that I look back. I did not take the time to learn about app marketing. And I should have found people like Chad Moretta and Carter and others to say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, these guys are 15 years younger than I am, but hey, they know more than I do. I need to be prepared to learn from them. So don't blow several years just scrambling around when people have already figured it out and you just need to learn what they know.
Yeah, you nailed it. And we just released a podcast geared towards Facebook ads, and the same things apply where people will do a Facebook campaign, put in $5, $100, and expect these huge results to happen. And it's not like that where you can just release an app or start a campaign, you're going to start collecting checks. You need to keep learning, you need to keep tweaking, you need to keep analyzing, and most importantly, just stick with it. Keep doing the updates. If you want downloads and you don't want to spend money on traffic, you just want to focus on ASO. You're not going to get the perfect keywords your first time. You're going to have to measure and tweak and keep studying the market and the trends and what's going on. Yeah, so thanks so much. Where can people contact you or find you?
They can come to MileBug.com for learning about MileBug. We have a Bacon Moji Facebook page, so they can get in there. And so probably best through those two. We're revamping my company website, so actually don't go there. Just come to the MileBug.com website or to the Bacon Moji Facebook page, and leave a message. You can leave a message in both places, and I'd love to hear from people.
Got it. Yeah, well, thanks a lot for the chat, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you.